So first, the history of marijuana. It's not a new drug, it's been around for a long time. 2737 is when we first saw its use. It was when some emperors saw writings talk about getting an aura effect. 1611 is when it was actually introduced to America. It was actually a major cash crop. They used the fiber to create different products. 1890 was pretty much when was replaced by cotton. We didn't see much use up until the 1920s is when we started seeing medical use or recreational use, mostly because of the prohibition of alcohol, so that people need a replacement, I guess. 1930s is when the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, whatever, started campaigning against marijuana. That's when you saw like reefer madness in 1936, stuff like that, which pretty much led up to 1941, which is when marijuana was actually removed from the U.S. pharmacopoeia. It's like an official book for the United States' medicine, accepted medicines and uses. So it was removed then. And that brings us to 1970, which is when the Controlled Substance Act was signed by Nixon, making it a Schedule I drug, meaning it had no medical use. It was illegal, considered addictive substance. So pretty much what I'm talking about today is the prohibition of marijuana and why it's a bad thing. So the first thing is the lack of research. So it's a Schedule I drug, meaning it has no accept, like I said, no accepted enough uses. And you're not allowed to research it either, it's legal research. So because of that, we're going to have a limited understanding, obviously. Our limited understanding so far, well, in recent years we've seen obviously more research as it becomes more legal, so we know better understanding. What we've learned so far is, it may cause memory block formation, and mostly like you're high, I guess. May help depression, may increase depression. We've seen that. May stop the progression of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, seizures, things like that. Like I said, we have pretty limited knowledge right now, just because the fact that it's a Schedule I drug, we don't really understand. The reason why this is a bad thing is because there could be side effects we don't know about. Because we haven't had much research, maybe marijuana is linked to heart attacks or something, but we just don't know that. It's probably slim, but that could be a possibility. The other bad thing is it could replace current medicine. So like I was talking about seizures, there's kids who have hundreds of them a day. They're on many different types of medications. They're trying to balance the medications to see what works best, and these cause lots of side effects. What they found out is, probably you've heard this kind of stories where they reduced it from 100 seizures down to like 2 a day, just because they used the CBD, which is like the medical part of marijuana. So they use that instead of all these medicines they're doing that has less side effects or no side effects. They're seeing a lot of improvement. Here's just a little quote. "Nothing in all the world is as dangerous as sincere ignorance," by Martin Luther King Jr. Pretty much saying if you being ignorant to something, that's dangerous. That obviously, like I said, there could be side effects we don't know about, or it could be replacing, it could be a better alternative. The next major impact is the judicial system and cost. So the minor point is just conflicting laws. So say you're from out of the country, you fly here, you've heard about people smoking California, Colorado, and you come to New York. New York, it's not legal there, so you probably get a ticket. Or if you go to a more conservative state, say you get arrested or something, because you're not sure about the laws. Another number of arrests, here's a little graph, you can see that's been increasing. The thing I think is interesting about this increase is it also matches with the increase in support. So obviously if there's an increase in support, there shouldn't be a number of arrests. Seems pretty contradictory. The number of arrests according to so ACLU.org, between 2001 and 2010, you can kind of see it, there was 8.2 million marijuana arrests, 88% of which were for possession alone, which is pretty ridiculous. Obviously it makes sense to arrest the people who are coming over the border, major cartels, stuff like that, but people who just have the drug, 88%, 8.2 million, that's a lot. Of course, there's the cost associated and money that we're not getting. So the cost, $7.7 billion we're spending a year at a state and federal level to fight marijuana. If we put in a legal system like tobacco and alcohol, it should generate between about 2.4 and 6.2 billion dollars a year, according to Prohibitionist Cost Award. A bunch of economists guessed and not guessed, but that's what they came up with. Bringing it back to my third point, which is the major impact on society. Probably the biggest impact. Each of you guys have been impacted by this, whether you know it or not. So first I want to talk about the arrest. So those 8.2 million arrests, each of those is a real person with real responsibilities, with people who depend on them. It's 8.2 million people are in jail because they had a plan. Also the loss of financial aid. So if you have any criminal, or if you have any drug charge, marijuana, whatever it is, you'll lose your financial aid for students, which, like I said, is going to directly impact you guys. We have the medical marijuana patients. This is the one, probably the most important topic. So these guys, people who have actually seen improvements from using marijuana, maybe with the seizures, the Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, if they go and use this drug, they could face criminal charges. That's going to affect them, obviously, be arrested maybe. If it's not legal. So that's a major impact. That's probably the most important part of marijuana is the patients. They need this. There's some ridiculous stuff going on. I read an article in Washington Post. There's a 81-year-old woman, grandma. She had arthritis, and so she wanted to try marijuana. She didn't want to go to a dealer, thought that was too dangerous. Didn't want to go get a card because of the expense, extra expense, thought it would be difficult. So she started growing one plant in her backyard. A military-style helicopter came over her house. A few moments later, there was DEA at her house saying they wanted the plant from her. And so they basically took that away from her, single plant. So basically kind of, I have a quick video. I think it's a pretty important video that everyone should see.
You love all-day breakfast, but you don't love that you can't get all your favorites. But now you can get more of what you love, so you can find something else to not love, like hearing the sound of your own voice.
Like hearing the sound of your own voice.
Get more choices you love, now with all-day breakfast.
To do now. What I'm going to do now is to self-medicate with some
So this guy
marijuana.
is suffering
And then come back up
from
to
Parkinson's. You can see he has the tremors. He also, you can't see in the video, but his talks about his foot, how it causes curling of the foot. It's pretty painful and uncomfortable. And his voice is struggling to talk, struggling to fight this disease. So you can see. So they basically he has a sort of a medical device that turns off these tremors by electrical signals. And so he turns that off, and this is what he looks like, basically suffering from disease. So he's going to medicate himself.
30 minutes to show you the difference. Okay, it's now 20 minutes since I self-medicated with approximately 30 milligrams of marijuana, which is just a small pinch, taken using a vaporizer. And you can see that my tremor has calmed down significantly. In fact, it's almost completely under control. Sense of relief is overwhelming. Apart from calming my tremor, there are one or two other symptoms that the marijuana has affected positively. Dystonia, which causes my right foot to curl over and is most uncomfortable, is lessened considerably. My voice feels stronger and it's easier for me to get words
That's
out.
pretty much all I think is to see. I think it's a pretty powerful video. It's the reason it's hard to imagine something that helps and solves that is illegal, and that he's maybe in the state days and he's not allowed to use that. It's obviously a really good thing. In conclusion, our knowledge of marijuana has been limited. Sorry, that's messed up. Because of the prohibition, our knowledge has been limited. It has negatively impacted the judicial system, and also, most importantly, society, each one of you guys. Thank you.
All right, Carissa, what did you think?
I liked it. I thought it was really good. There was a lot of info and facts, and you seemed like you knew what you were talking about, and everything seemed to be in chronological order, which was good. And in the beginning, I liked how you stated the topics that you were going to be discussed, so we knew what you were going to be talking about throughout your speech. And then you didn't look at your notes too much, which was really good. You seemed that showed that you were confident in what you were talking about. You were interactive with your slides, and then your visuals were good. I liked the video, and I liked how you didn't just show the video, you like explained what was going on. And yeah, you projected your voice well too, like the way you presented yourself, you seemed confident. And just one thing, in the beginning, your attention getter, like start with something like really like informative, like to address your topic, like either like a story or just like a strong attention getter. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good.
All right. Yeah, you don't really have an attention device. It's just today we're going to talk about this subject. So you identify the topic pretty clearly, but it's not a very interesting lead-in. When you do go to the timeline, I think that that's not a bad idea, except your timeline has no references to any of the events that you're talking about. It's just a line with dates on it. And I'm going, whoa. You know, what's the value of that? You know, I don't think that it adds anything to the presentation unless you make some references to those things that you're talking about on the visual image. It's otherwise, you know, it's just like, well, here's a calendar, and in October something happened, and September something happened. You got to indicate that on the calendar, and nothing's indicated on the timeline there. So that's a little bit odd. There's no real preview of the supporting material. Now, in the body of the speech, I think there's an organizational structure, but most of the organizational structure is suggested not by you in your presentation, your oral presentation, but by the visual materials. Basically, you have that left column there that has words or phrases on it that indicate that you've changed topics, and then there's typically the image on the right that is something that's covered in that particular section of material. So I think you need to do a little bit more planning on the structure of the speech, both, like I said, in the preview and as you are speaking. You get a little benefit of the doubt because the visuals, I think, do help give it something to hang together around. The first part of the speech, I didn't hear a lot of references. I heard a few more references in the later parts of the speech. For example, almost everything that you had prior to the discussion of the tax issue is not really cited. Now, I know that you did research on it because I'm sure that you've got it in your bibliography, but it's not being cited in the presentation. And that was the first place that when you were talking about what the potential revenue would be, that was the first place that I heard a specific reference to a source. And then I heard a few more references later on in the presentation. The video, let's talk about the visuals. I think the idea of the visuals is not bad. You're using them to structure, but there's too much narrative material on them. So you don't need that. Like I said, it does organize the speech for us, but it's like we're watching your outline, and that's not necessarily the best use of this kind of material. I thought the video clip is very effective. Obviously, there needs to be a little bit more planning on it because the McDonald's ad is a little distracting in the middle, and you kind of have to, make some adjustments when you're showing us the video clip. But I thought you did a pretty good job on that, and I also appreciated that you talked during the video. So there were pluses and minuses on a lot of these things. You sound a lot like you're rushing through the material and that you think you need to be a little bit more engaged. You've got this story of the 81-year-old woman who's, the DEA came down on, and you describe it like you're in a hurry to get to the next thing instead of making it an interesting presentation. We're going to talk about delivery stuff more on the next assignment, but I want you to kind of when you watch your video back later, kind of listen to how it comes across. Because if you were telling this story to somebody, just a friend or having a conversation, you would be like, I can't believe what my boss did today. It was so terrible that they were so mean to me and I hate their guts and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's have lunch. And you'd be going, what? You mean this horrible thing happened and there's no reaction to it, there's no emotional investment in it, and you don't sound like you thought it was dramatic. It just kind of sat there. And I think you need a few more of those kinds of stories. I think the video gives us a lot more of that. But most of the power that comes from the videos comes from what we see the man going through in that situation. You need to be able to, I'm not saying you need to stop pacing or anything like that, but you need to be able to kind of come across like, you know, this is something that you care about and that you're engaged with. And I think it sounds like you're a little detached and treating it a little more clinically than you want. All right, thank you. And in case you didn't know, it did go a lot over, about a minute and a half.